everyone to our first Take Command of 2022. Isn't that beautiful that we end off on the last one of 2021, which was phenomenal. And then we start with, see, this is the beautiful thing about the transition here. Isn't that lovely? I hope everyone had a very, very relaxful holiday. We are back. We are back on the field with the record going into the playoffs. So Zach, thank you so much. Again, if you are joining us through the recording, I am Jack Crutchfield Jr. I'm the Regional Technology Director of the Maryland, D.C. region of Keller Williams. And joining me today, of course, is Zach Younger, the Regional Technology Director of the Northern California, Hawaii region of Keller Williams. And today we wanted to bring back actually have the sequel to one of our very, very successful classes because of you all, the Command App Best Practices. This will be part 2 today. And Zach, what will we actually be covering today?
We're going to talk about some real life scenarios on using Command App while on the go. And we're going to be talking about best practices on leveraging Command App and having a mobile app in your smartphone and available. We're diving into Command App today because, as Jack had mentioned, this is part 2. We want to talk about realistic live examples that you might use and practically to keep you as efficient as possible. Now, we came out of the Christmas holiday in our new year. It's important to note we didn't have a lot of releases inside of Command. This class, we tend to teach something brand new that's come out into our Command ecosystem. And so today we're doing part 2 of the mobile app. That said, get excited because next week and the following week, there are a lot of new updates that are planned and going to be rolling out inside of Command. Your Market Center tech trainers have been briefed on a lot of those updates, and they'll be getting briefed again this week and next week with everything that's coming, and they'll be prepared to support you with that. We've got family reunion right around the corner, Jack. And I know one thing, we tend to have some really great, exciting stuff to play around with at family reunion. Are you going? Are you excited?
Yes, I will be present there in family reunion. First time in a family reunion in Florida. However, this is not my first trip to Florida. However, the beautiful thing about family reunion, no matter where it is that if you are aware of the new releases, every time family reunion comes up, it is literally like our Super Bowl. So it's wonderful to know that we're going to have some very, very cool features that you all be able to demo there. I'm pretty sure on the virtual platform, you'll be able to do so, or visit the virtual booth if you're familiar with that. And it's a very exciting time. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited to be there in person with you and so many of you on this call. And yet, I know a lot of you might be attending virtually through our online platform. It's going to be incredible, like Jack had said. For those of you that are going to be attending, if we don't see you before then, make sure to grab myself and or Jack when you see us in the hallways and say hello and let us know what we can do to support you best. Jack, if you can go ahead and queue up your phone, Jack's going to be sharing his screen. And today, again, we're going to be diving into a couple real life examples. This class is slated to be as much as 1 hour. Today, we're not going to be taking the entire hour. We've got a handful of things to talk about and show you. I'm going to be answering questions inside the chat. So if you have any questions, you can type those into the chat box. As always, you can raise your digital hand, which you'll find down at the bottom of the Zoom window. And we will jump right in, and then we'll answer just general Q&A questions at the end like we always do with Take Command. All right, Jack, let's see if we can see your screen. Fabulous.
All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off in my Command App. Now, before we start, Zach, what is one thing that stands out besides the fact that I eat out a lot and I shop a lot of shoes? What's the one thing that we know and see about this Command App that we see on the screen here? What stands out to us?
So 2 things I see. One is the number 1 up at the top right of the app icon. That's what we call a badge, either on Android or iPhone. It tells us basically how many things are unread inside that app. You guys have probably all seen this on Facebook or Gmail app, unread text messages or Facebook notifications. For Command App, these are your command notifications. And so you can see how many new notifications or unread notifications you have there. I do want to point out one other quick thing. Quick tip for those of you iPhone users, there's more iPhone users on this call than Android. And I'm not certain if you have this on Android as well. You see the yellow little dot right next to the command, the word command? That means that the app has been updated recently. So if you downloaded the app when it first came out, know that both in the Android Play Store and the Apple App Store, there is a new version of the app that's come out since our last Take Command. So if you haven't done so, make sure to download the most recent version, and you might just notice that you've got Command Apps badges or unread notifications inside that app.
Awesome. And Carrie also said, I don't see that on my amazing Android. So if you don't see it on your amazing Android, then you'll be able to go to your amazing Google Play Store and just look at any of the updates that you may have, not only for the Command app and more. So great observation, Carrie. Always making sure he's the voice of the voiceless for the Android users, right? So let's hop right into the app. So again, as from before the first session, when we hop directly into the Command app, I am logged in. Now, if we weren't logged in, you'll just see the login screen where you can enter in your Command username and password or your Face ID if you have it set up. And then here is the home screen. Again, we see our date, we see our contact task, who the contact, and things to know. And just to follow up on what we just discussed together, that notification bell at the top right and the number 1 also is where you will see all your notifications as you are entering into the app. So I went through and I had my brother actually enter his information inside of one of my landing pages so that we can test out to make sure that the notification can come through. We will put on you all's radar that if you have been experiencing issues with the notifications, have no fear. KW support is here. They are aware of it and they are working on it. If you experience any issues while following along with us on the Command app, just wanted to give that heads up as well. So my brother filled out one of my landing pages for a listing example that I had. So now I want to take a look at the notification at the top right. So I'm going to click the bell. And now, again, inside of our notifications area, we have the unread tab as well as the read tab to let you know of your new notifications as well as the ones that you may have already looked at and just wanted to keep a record. You didn't dismiss them, but they're still there if you wanted to keep a record of it, right? So you see here, my brother Tyrus has filled out his information that was on my landing page, and now it says new lead information from Tyrus Crutchfield. So now lead form notification, I can view the contact from here. So Zach, wouldn't you think it's a beautiful thing if we're running our Facebook ads and our paid ads through Command and we capture those leads? Will we be able to get those notifications inside of this particular app as well?
100%. Any lead that comes from any source inside of Command or the consumer facing environment will lead right into Command app, give you new instant access to all of the details of that lead. Now, don't forget also with your Facebook ads, you can activate a smart plan based on that Facebook ad so that Kelly, our AI, will start following up with that new lead so that you don't even have to go into your Command app to pull it up to make a phone call. You can fire off a text message or an email through a smart plan so that that triggers immediately for any Facebook leads that come in from a Facebook campaign. And yet you're going to get the notification so that you can take that extra touch and give them a quick call, especially when you have the phone number.
Absolutely. And you got to love live TV, because as I was going to the lead, it was like, I don't feel like it. I said, no, we have a class. We have to do it. Let's go. All right. So as soon as I click on the view contact tab from my notifications, now you see it takes me directly to the lead from my brother who filled out his information here. Now, another thing to take a look at on this particular screen that we have here is that, of course, it shows last contacted 35 minutes ago, which is affectionately known as that is when he actually filled out the lead form. Also, you'll see the notification that this contact is marked as a lead. Same way you'll see it inside of your database, inside of Command Standard on your desktop, you'll be able to see the lead marked inside of your contacts information. Also, it will let you know the lead source as well as where it says account, meaning the account that it came from, which is mine, and then also the owner of the lead, which is now you all. And then additional contact info. By default, it will have the contact's legal name as the full name here. Anything else to point out as far as the notifications and the rerouting to anything? Nope, Zach is giving me a note. Okay, great. So we're going to go back. If there are any questions on the contacts or anything, please pop it into the chat. And Zach, okay, great. Thanks, Zach. Zach will definitely take care of you, and we will also monitor the chat throughout the session. All right, now we are back onto the home screen. Now, here's a great example of a lead generation opportunity. Remember to just kind of reiterate what we talked about the first session about the things to know. So we talked about the features that the app have and kind of give the brief introduction. But let's talk about a real life situation where we're actually looking at things to know and who to contact. So if we take a look at things to know, we have birthdays, anniversaries, and profit share. Working on the profit share, no judgment here. So for birthdays, if you know there's a birthday coming up, this could be a lead generation opportunity for your smart plans to set up those contacts that indeed have birthdays coming up in the next 30 days to actually trigger them into the birthday smart plan. Now for anniversaries, you guessed it, if you're way ahead of us, yes, this is another smart plan opportunity if you're looking at anniversaries, and it will best fit you to select the home anniversary smart plan. It's all there. The birthday smart plan and the home anniversary smart plan are the part of the 10 templated KWRI smart plans that you can use, plug, drop in, get your clients that are coming up on birthdays, clients who are having their home anniversaries come up, just plug them onto the smart plan. This is a great opportunity to look at the home screen and say, well, this is a great idea to just go ahead and add them to the smart plan, because that is done because of course I know the next day I'm going to be taking care of something else, running my business at a high level. Now, if we look at who to contact, we have leads never contacted and recently active. Now, yes, you can set these people up on a smart plan for the leads that you never contacted or were generated through campaigns, or the people who were recently active on your mobile app or your consumer app, I should say, or your website. Now, Zach, let's ask you this in a real life situation. Of course, we can set our folks who we never contacted, or the leads we never contacted, or the people who were recently active on our sites through a smart plan. What would you suggest would be a best practice if we actually did a personal touch to this particular list?
Yeah, if you've got a lead that's never been contacted, if you tap onto that widget, it's going to pull up a list of each of the individual contacts that might fall into that criteria. You'll notice next to the name of each of the contacts, you've got a call icon, a text icon, and an email icon. If you're missing any of those buttons or icons, if you will, that means, of course, if the phone icon isn't there, that means you don't have a phone number for them. Jack, I would argue that when you have a lead that's never been contacted, phone is probably the best place to reach out to them, whether that's a phone call or a text message. So when you tap the phone, it'll actually give you the ability to choose which phone number, excuse me, in case you have multiple different phone numbers for a contact. When you tap on that phone number, it'll actually open up the phone app on your phone and will actually call the number that you have on record for them. Then when you hang up, the command app is going to come right back up on your phone, and it's going to ask you if you'd like to log that interaction. Would you like to log the phone call? You can make any notes associated with that call. This works the same way, whether you use text message or email. Now notice once he hung up the phone, Jack made a quick call, he hung up, Command app came right back open on his phone and asked, all right, would you like to log that call onto John's timeline? Now he could say yes, or he could say no. And then if he says yes, it's going to actually ask him, did you talk? Did you leave a voicemail, or was there no answer? And then, of course, there's a description. Now that is required. So you're going to type in just a couple little notes about that interaction. If they didn't answer, you can just say no answer or not available. If they did, you can talk about exactly what you spoke about. That way, the next time you go into that contact record, you can see the last conversation you had. You get that superhuman memory by leveraging the technology there.
All right. So now I have entered a couple notes about that interaction, literally. There was no answer. So also, again, to Zach's point, we can enter and say this, what the interaction type was. Of course, the intended functionality of this example is that the fact we called this particular lead, and instead of moving it anywhere else, we also have meeting, we have text and quick note. And if you notice, it is the same functionality and format of logging the interaction inside of your command standard account. So now I'm going to go ahead and just say save. And now it says timeline activity added. And now when I select John Smith, if I move, if we're looking at the 4 icons, you see the 4 teal icons. And now right under the telephone icon, we see timeline. If I select timeline, then now you see in real time that specific interaction we entered at the same time together. And this will be great for on the go. Like I know a lot of us are on the move. If you're in the Maryland, DC region, we're not much on the move right now. It's a little snowy and icy right now. So if you are on the move, you're on the move in your driveway, right? So now here for this example, say if we are going through and we are calling people while we're on the road or calling people while we're moving through meeting to meeting. This is a great way to go ahead and actually add this interaction here. So I don't have to be a prisoner to just my desktop. I can actually just go ahead and add the interaction here. Now, Zach, let me ask you this. So I see timeline here, but I also see smart plans, and it says it looked like I haven't added John to any smart plans yet. So can I actually just add them to a smart plan from here, or can I manage my smart plans as well?
So right now from the command app, you can add any contact or remove any contact from any smart plan that you have in your library. The reason Jack asked if we can actually manage our smart plans, managing the smart plans is still done from what we call Command Core, or from the desktop version of Command. That's where you can access the Smart Plans applet, or the tab on the left-hand side of your command screen. And then you can go into the Smart Plans library and you can download smart plans or even create a smart plan from scratch. Now, once you've added smart plans to your library from your desktop, then you can apply those smart plans to any contact on the go. This is why your Market Center tech trainers and we as your regional tech trainers have been advising all of our associates to add any smart plan that you might consider using in the future to your library. Do it so that way the next time you're on the go in Command App, for instance, I know plenty of agents that haven't held an open house in the last year and a half. And so they never downloaded the open house follow-up smart plan. Well, if you download that smart plan into your library, even if you haven't used it for the last year and a half, as long as it's in your smart plan library or your team plans library, you'll be able to apply any new lead that comes there, whether they signed in on the landing page right at your open house, or maybe you added them to the command app right after they did a manual sign in on the sign-in sheet out front. You can add them to that open house follow-up plan, and it'll actually then start activating any of those touches. Here you can see Jack's got his entire list of all the different smart plans that are in his library. Now, if you click on add to smart plan and you don't see an entire list of smart plans, that just means that you don't have smart plans in your library that have either been created or downloaded from the generic smart plan library. So you might take this opportunity to write a little note to yourself, go into smart plans, click on library, do this from a computer, and you'll be able to browse through all of the smart plans that were either created by Keller Williams International or any of our top agents and trainers all across the country that publish smart plans for you to download for free. Once they're in your library, then they'll have them on the list inside Command App to be able to activate them immediately.
Absolutely. So I selected, thank you for that, Zach. Awesome. Because here's the thing. I know we had a lot of questions from the last section and as well as this session about who has the app, who can get the app. Okay, now it's available for everybody, not just Apple. Shout out Carrie. And then also a beautiful thing is that we can have our functionalities for tasks, contacts, and your home screen. Now that's all we have for version 1. So maybe, just maybe, in the future versions, we may have different features. However, right now we only have our home screen and just kind of what are the very important things? What are the top things in the top 20% on a daily ops type of thing for us, right? We always want to know what our contacts are doing, what our leads are doing, how we're nurturing them, how we're getting to them, and of course, what are our tasks. So now I've selected the task applet. And now that I'm looking at the task applet, now I see all of my outstanding tasks, whether they're past due or they're coming up. I get to look at that and see that there, right? So now that we're in tasks, remember, just like in the applet inside of Command Standard, we have contacts. Now, if we look at the top left, I'm going to move from contacts to opportunities. Excuse me. This list displays all opportunity tasks across your personal and team accounts. I know that, so I'm going to say, don't show this again. I'm going to say, okay. And now we see I don't have any opportunity tasks at the moment. Now I'm going to go back to contacts. Now for contacts, do I have to always be inside of my desktop or my laptop to actually create one? Now, no, what will be great is now I actually have a task applet in the palm of my hand. How powerful is that? Wouldn't you agree that's very powerful? Now you can just go ahead, instead of use your notes like me and do it very, very old school, we can just go into the Command app, go to our task applet at the bottom. And if there's something that we need to write down or make a note of, just right there, whether we're talking to the lender, whether we're at the inspections, or whether we just had our buyer's consultation, is something that I need to keep in mind, or something update about my listing. I can either go to my contacts for my actual buyer or seller, click the plus button at the bottom right, and enter the task name description and add any supporting hyperlinks if need be, as well as adding the contact associated, meaning my buyer or my seller. I'm going to cancel this out. Now, say if this is something that is related to my buyer or seller, however, it's something really pertaining to the actual transaction, meaning something within my stages, within my phases. So now I'm in appraisal or inspections, and there's something I need to make sure that I complete in order to have this as a successful closed transaction. Now I can move from contacts to opportunities. Now that I move to opportunities, now it says it looked like you don't have any tasks, but wait, I don't see the plus button here, Zach. What would you suggest if I can't add a task through opportunities, but I can add a task to my contacts? What is usually best practice around making sure that my opportunity tasks show up here as well?
So one best practice is know what those things are that you do on a regular basis in the transactions, because you can create a checklist for any stage of an opportunity so that those tasks automatically show up. All you have to do is set a due date and next to any of those checklist items, and that'll actually just show up right there. Now, I will add also, Jack, you showed how to create a contact task right from this screen, and you could associate it with a contact. You can also do that right from the contact record itself. You can add tasks that way as well. So there's multiple ways to add tasks, whether you're doing it from a computer or from Command app, you'll be able to do exactly what you need to do when you need to do it.
So now, great observation, Zach. I appreciate that. Now, to Zach's point, I'm going to go back and we're going to visit that contact list of the leads I never contacted. And I want to navigate to the contacts record and add a task that way. So I'm going to go back to Mr. Smith. I just selected him. And now looking at our options, details, timeline, smart plans, notes, and tasks. This is where we want to go. And it looks like I don't have any task for Mr. Smith yet. So we're going to do one together. So we're going to navigate to the bottom right of our phone or mobile device and select the plus button. And now we're going to enter the task name, the description, whether it's all day or not. If it's not all day, you can select and deselect that option. And then you also select the date. And again, add any hyperlinks or supporting links if need be. Also,
you might have noticed, oh, I'm sorry, Jack. You might have noticed that when he created a task from a contact card, it didn't ask him if it's associated with a contact or not. It knows it's already going to add this task to that contact. When you create a task from the tasks applet, whether that's from a computer or from mobile command mobile, you can actually apply it to multiple different contacts at one time. Let's say that you've got a client event coming up this weekend where you're getting a select group of people together, a very small group, your inner circle, and you want to follow up with them and you're out on the go and you want to remind yourself to do that. You can go into tasks and you could actually go through and associate a particular task to follow up in 2 days with a group of contacts, and it'll apply a task to each one of those contacts that you select from the list, which becomes really, really helpful. The other thing I wanted to point out inside of the task creator, notice the little checkbox at the very bottom, mark as a call task. One small nuance that happens when you choose a call task. So any task can really be a task to call somebody. However, when you mark that box that says make it a call task, when you go into your tasks applet, it's going to filter call tasks in order, and it's going to give you a little phone icon to actually make that phone call without having to tap into the contact record. So if you're creating a task that's associated with a phone call or something that you want to be able to make that phone call really quickly, tap that little box, choose it as a call task. That way you can skip one step a little bit later, and it'll actually give you the option to call right from your tasks applet.
Absolutely. Great observation, Zach. Now, again, to bring back the idea of what a real life situation would be when actually doing this, remember, now we have our virtual assistant in the palm of our hand. And we would like to use our favorite word here, leverage. Leverage, leverage, leverage. This is leveraging your time. This is also leveraging the efficiency of how you're reminding yourself, as well as maybe the team. If you're with a team, you're also reminding the team and you were out and about, and say you're the rainmaker, you're setting now tasks that the rest of the team will see, or specifically to a team member, especially if it's a lead follow-up or any calls to make. Any questions on our task applet inside of the command app? We're going to check the chat.
We've had a couple questions come through on chat. For the most part, it's people just fired up about how excited they are to have all this power in the pocket on the go. I do want to bring up another real life scenario with applying a task. You guys have all found yourself inside of a grocery store or another store out and about, and you bump into somebody that you maybe represented 4 years ago, or an old friend you haven't seen in several years. And that strikes up a real estate conversation. And they might make a comment about how they're thinking about selling their house in the next 3 months. Historically, we would make a mental note of that, or the moment they would walk away, we'd send ourselves an email or maybe a text message to our assistant reminding us to follow up. It's a perfect example of opening up Command App, make sure they're in your contacts. Of course, if they are, then apply that task to follow up with them next week. Leverage.
You're going to hear me say that a lot, and hear us say that a lot throughout the years, to the point where if you see us walking around with a shirt that just says leverage, you know what we're talking about. Now, we do have some questions that came up in the chat. Maria asked, for those on the team, how can we switch profiles from personal to the team command account? I'm glad you asked. At the bottom right, where it's very small, but that's my headshot for my command profile image. If I click on that, if I'm a part of a team in this area, or if you're part of a team in this area, this is where you will switch between personal and team account. Currently, my account is not attached to a team. So right now it's just saying personal. However, in this same area, this is where you'll be able to switch from your personal to your team's account. Another question we have is, why would 3 contracts show never when I have contacted? Oh, 3 contacts show when I have contacted.
Take that, Jack. Yeah, it's a really great question. And so chances are the reason, excuse me, it's showing that the contacts have never been contacted is because Command, or Kelly, our AI, doesn't know that you've contacted them. It's entirely possible that the lead came in and you called them from your office line or your cell phone, but you never logged that interaction inside of Command. Or maybe you sent them an email from your Gmail, but you didn't log that interaction, or you didn't connect your Gmail to Command. Command will actually pay attention to when you've received or sent emails from your Gmail, or when you log any interaction inside of Command. So if you have leads that have never been contacted, it's possible that you have contacted them. It's just that we don't know that you've contacted them unless you log the activity.
Absolutely. Great question and great answer, Zach. And just to expound on that, we really don't want to skim over this, because I know we get a lot of questions about this, especially for those teams or those agents running their database and looking like, well, I mean, I did call them. So to Zach's point, if you're connecting your Gmail through your settings, that's actually how you, and Mike, right on time, Mike asked, how do we connect Gmail to Command? That will be in your settings area inside of Command. The very first area where we click settings is our connected applications page. In that page there, where we connect our DocuSign, our API Nation, our Gmail, and more, this is where you will actually connect your Gmail account. So if there's email conversations between you and said client, and it's the same and registered email address that you're communicating to that client, as well as what is on their contact card, that will also log an interaction. If that contact or client has been actively searching on listings or searching for homes, or just meddling through your consumer app, that's registered to you, and that is a registered client. And if they are moving through and searching through your agent site, that is another way, as well as if they fill out a landing page is another way, if that will trigger that last contacted or who you never contacted. All right. Okay. And Zach has popped in answers. Okay, great. So everyone bookmark that just for your reference. Another question pops in. How do we track out-of-state agents we referred and get compensated? Zach, do you want to take that one?
Absolutely. WD, great question. That's done from the referrals applet inside of Command. We don't have access to the referrals applet inside Command Mobile or the Command app just yet. We wanted to make sure that the minimum viable product, or MVP, when you're talking tech terms, in other words, when we rolled out the app, we needed to make sure that it had a core functionality. And tracking and managing referrals didn't make that core functionality from our top agents around the country that they needed on the go. So WD, if you want to track outbound or incoming referrals from agents and to agents, you can do that from the referrals applet, but you do have to do that from a desktop computer or a laptop and log into the Command core that you've been used to using for some time. And then Julie, you also asked a question about assigning tasks to other team members through the app. That was not in this first iteration. That is on the roadmap for future functionality to be able to assign tasks. I will say this though, Julie, anybody with enhanced or unlimited access will be able to see not only your tasks in the team account, but also all other tasks that are associated with any other team member. So you'll be able to see their tasks. It's just that at this time, you can't assign it to someone else. So what you could do, of course, is if there is somebody that you assign tasks to on a regular basis in your team, you could give them enhanced privileges if that makes sense for your team organization. Any task that you create for yourself, they'll be able to see in their account, and you could put their name in the name of the task. That gives them a visual indicator that they need to complete that task.
Absolutely. Great observation. Great questions, you all, and observing that. So again, at the moment, it will be best practice to, and again, best practice to just assign the task through your desktop. Now, again, if you're on the move and you want to actually assign a specific task to a team member, then again, from the app, you can just create the task with that particular team member's name on it, and then just let them know that this is actually assigned to them, and they can go ahead and take care of it. And or you can just mark it down and just make it a bookmark in essence, right? And then you can come back when you have the opportunity to come back to your desktop. You'll be able to assign that to the team member. All right. Okay. Boom. See, live TV, you gotta love it right there in real time. And Tony, I know you had that question. The amazing Derek and Zach have taken care of you, and thank you again, Derek and Zach, for that. And the beautiful thing that I love about the questions that we're getting today is the fact that these are usually questions from people that are like, hey, can it do this? I'm excited to know that it does this so far, but it's like, wait a minute. Can I do this? Can I do that? Will I be able to do this? Of course, what will be in the perfect world is to be able to have the entire command database or the entire Keller Cloud all on your app. So this is just version 1. Version 2 will be released TBD. So stay tuned. Of course, we'll be able to get you all the updated information when that is made available. And of course, we will always brainstorm, or we will always mastermind together about what will be the best features to have on the applet, or on the app, I should say, coming soon. So with that being said, let's have some interaction time in the chat. Pop into the chat. Oh my gosh, never mind. Because Zach already has the ideas.kw.com for any feature requests that you want on Command Desktop or on the Command app. You will be able to visit ideas.kw.com to push that out. So just for some, Zach is a mind reader. I'm very aware. So I expect tacos at the door soon. Thanks. So the beautiful thing about this now is, one thing we can do together is pop into the chat and pop into ideas.kw.com. What are some of the things you all would like to see in the version 2 of the Command app? All right. Question we have is, Julie asks, how do you delete a contact? So we will go to contact. Nope, that's not the one. Go to contact, go to edit. And it looks like we cannot at the moment archive a contact through here unless I am blind leading the blind. Zach, is there a archive button somewhere here?
No, you nailed it, Jack. There is no ability to archive contacts on the go inside Command App at this time. If it's something you would like to be able to do from Command App, make sure to submit that to ideas.kw.com. What I would recommend at this time is, if there's a contact that you come across on the go that you do want to archive, set a task for yourself for tomorrow or later today. That way, when you sit down in front of the computer, you've got an assigned task that come due, and you can then archive them right from the computer.
So I'm going to say archive John Smith. And then I'm going to actually remove myself and then search for John Smith and say save, unmark it as a call task. It's due by midnight, basically. And I'm going to just say save. So now I have on my list to archive John Smith here, and it says due today. Great question, Julie. Great question. Derek, yes, you are mind ready, because you all have been working like fire in the chat. So greatly appreciate your support. Jay Crystal Chrysler said shows opportunities. So is this a question or this is a feature request? Okay, Zach says opportunities planned to be coming soon in the Command app in version 2.0. So hopefully in the near future, we are going to get that applet release within the Command app. Any other features that you all, or any feature requests, again, remember to enter it in answers.kw.com, but also pop into the chat and let us know some other features that you would like to see or that will help you run your business efficiently through the Command app. No response, meaning it, besides opportunities, it already does that MVP features inside of the applet. Zach, was there anything else you wanted to bring up and mention?
I just wanted to give everyone just another minute to type any questions into their chat box or raise your digital hand if you have any questions around Command app or Command in general. Jack, you did just a smashing job talking about real life scenarios on uses of Command app while on the go and leveraging great technology to keep us in touch with the right people at the right time, allowing us to be more human and be the fiduciary in the real estate relationship as we move forward. I don't see any other questions that came through, Jack. Let's just give them just another 30 seconds or so. Looks like Mike has a general Command question. Mike, you can raise your hand, unmute yourself, or type it into the chat box. And Carrie, the MVP feature right now, voice to text through your phone while on the go. So Carrie, I think you're already aware of this. If you tap on text message next to any contact in the Command app, it's going to open your default texting app on your iPhone or your Android. There you can use the text to text option to be able to fire off a text message or an email for anybody along those lines. And so I'm really glad you brought that up because I agree. It's so helpful on the go to be able to use the Siri or Android Assistant to be able to do that voice to text.
Absolutely. Great observation. You see at the bottom right of my screen, it's not going to take because I'm sharing unless it will. Let's find out together, right? So if I select, if I want to enter in the task name or contact, or I'm entering the description, say I ran into a client or potential lead into the store and I added them to my database. And now from there, from the grocery store, I want to know, hey, I have a lot of information in that particular neighborhood in the Upper Marlboro area in Maryland. And I have a few subdivisions where I have two listings. So let's have a conversation. So I want to be able to send them a neighborhood nurture or set them up on the neighborhood nurture. But again, I can either do that from my app, and I can also set up a task. So if I'm using the text to talk and I want to enter in the description,
Jack froze. He's trying to do too much while sharing his screen on Zoom, I think.
there we are.
Oh, there it is. It worked perfectly. You froze the entire time you were doing that voice to text, but we can see that's exactly what happened.
That is thanks to my Wi-Fi. Verizon, you're going to hear from me. All right. We do have a hand raised, Mike.
Happy New Year, everyone, and aloha, Zach and Jack. I just wanted to ask two quick general command questions. I'm new to using it, but the first question is, it runs really slow for me. Do you have any tips to help it speed up?
Can you tell me a little bit more about that, Mike? What's running slow for you, or what environment are you in when you're working on it?
Sure, I'm always connected to my home Wi-Fi when I use it. All other websites that I go to on my MacBook are working fine, full speed. But then when I get on Command, everything moves at about 1/4 speed.
Fascinating. Okay, Mike, so there's a couple things to try. One, of course, I'm not sure if you've already tried this, but clear your cache and cookies for your web browser. If you're not using Google Chrome, make sure you're using Google Chrome. You might be using Safari on the MacBook. Google Chrome performs best for most websites, including Command. So clearing your cache and cookies or using Google Chrome tends to work really well for that. I will say that I've had a lot of agents that when they go to contacts, they're a little disappointed in the amount of time it takes to load up the contacts. And just know that it can take some time because Command, while it's using your local internet connection, it has to ping about 200 different data points every time it opens up contacts to be able to pull in the phone numbers, the email addresses, the last contacted, the last visited, all that information to populate that into the list. So if you haven't cleared your cache and cookies, I would start there. If you're not using Google Chrome, definitely go there. And just know that the true nature of the way Command was built was to give you as much information in one view as possible. And that tends to take longer to load than maybe a news website, for instance, where it's just accessing a cached article as opposed to live data from the Keller Cloud. But Mike, are you using Google Chrome?
Sometimes, but sometimes I do use Mozilla. So I'll focus on Chrome and clear cache and cookies. That was fantastic. Thank you, Zach.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Can I
Yeah.
ask one more question?
You sure
Please
can.
do.
So I'm wondering, does Command have some glitches? Because the tags that our team uses, I'll tell you, for example, we have a FSBO tag. And whenever I search FSBOs, they never actually appear. Like we'll have like, say, 50 FSBOs, but I'll use that tag to search for them and it will turn up like one result. It's so strange.
So Mike, there could be a couple things at play here. Now, Team Command was designed for teams. And so we have what's called permission levels in the back end: enhanced, unlimited, and standard. Now, users that are having standard permissions only have access to contacts that they have either been assigned to or added as a collaborator. And so it's entirely possible that you've got contacts inside of the team account. You might have 40 of them with the FSBO tag. However, if you have standard permissions, or anybody else on the team that has standard permissions, if you haven't been assigned to those contacts or been added as a collaborator to those contacts, you won't be able to pull those up. So Mike, do you know if you have standard permissions inside of Command?
Yes, our team does have permissions and assignments. So that, I think that answers the question. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that's it. And if it isn't, Mike, reach out to your Market Center tech trainer and they can dive in with you and the rainmaker of your team and make sure that the permission levels are set up. Or if you guys need help assigning contacts to different members of the team like yourself, or adding collaborators, that's going to allow you access to those contacts.
Absolutely. Great question, Mike. Thank you so much, Zach. And also, the one thing I want to add to that as well is for Mike, when you are inside of Google Chrome, if you're still in Google Chrome and still experience issues, also try navigating through the incognito window to go through the settings and actually open up an incognito window and try navigating Command that way. If you're still experiencing issues, reach out to your Market Center tech trainer and they'll be happy to assist. Question from Chris. Chris asked, will it be best to remove the Kelly app yet? Not yet. I will best practice is to keep it on your mobile phone or mobile device. I would say wait for either your Market Center tech trainer or Zach or myself to kind of give you the okay to go ahead and delete that Kelly app, because there is still some things that come through the Kelly app, like for Command MC for leadership notifications and for recruits, that does not come through the mobile app, the Command app just yet. They're working on it. So if you may notice, new notifications may roll in slowly but surely. Of course, they're diligently working on that. Another thing that comes through Kelly is the compliance responses. So the compliance officer inside of the opportunity may respond to you to say, hey, we need some corrections on the documents, or it was approved, or your commissions have been returned. Please look at it this way. So I will just keep the Kelly app for right now until we can get more information. We have another question. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Chris had asked, how do I change the default search when I open contacts? That's what we call a smart view. And so I'm going to go into answers.kw.com here really quickly, Chris, and I'm going to pull up the answers article on how to set up a default smart view. Your Command app will actually follow the default smart view that you have set up inside of Command. And so I am adding that article to the chat box right now so that you can create smart views and even save it as a default smart view so that when you go into command each time, your contacts show up in a specific order. And you can actually do that. And then you can access the smart view as Jack is showing over on the far right-hand side. If you tap on smart views, that's going to give you your default smart view. And if you click the drop down, it's going to show you all the different smart views that you've set up, and you can quickly jump between any of those with that as well. So Chris, if you've got a certain way you want your contacts to show up, save it as your default smart view so that you can access it right there on Command App on the go.
Yes, and your default smart view will always be all contacts. Right now, I'm still in the view from the example that we flowed from the home screen to now. Now I'm going to switch to all contacts, and it's just going to show me all of the contacts I have in my database. So that's always standard. So again, to Zach's point, you can create your own smart view and manage it from here.
Jack, great job. Everyone, thank you so much for spending the last 50 minutes with us, diving into Command App and talking through some real life scenarios that you might choose to use on the go. Jack, Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year, Zach. Definitely a pleasure. So again, this is going to be a nice little ring. Again, join us on the third Monday. Join us on Monday. So I believe the third Monday is a holiday this month, correct? Yes, it is. So we will actually not have it this month. So it will be the third Monday will be on the 17th. Zach, are we able to actually do it the following week?
Let's just go ahead and check right now. Bear with me. I got logged out. Silly technology.
Now, if Zach's not there, we can just pop in and have a party. I mean, I'm cool with that. I mean, why not? You know, just grab some chips and, you know, talk tech. Why not? Right. So yeah, so normally, again, as we always reiterate, we have our Take Command sessions every month on the first Wednesday of the month and the third Monday of the month at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Pacific. And this month, we may have it on the 24th as opposed to the 17th because that is MLK Day. That's a holiday. So we want to make sure that we do provide those two sessions for you all. So stay tuned, and then we'll be back right here on this same link. Zach, was there anything else? Realtors don't take holidays, do they? So again, I say, if you want to pop on and have a party, grab some chips, grab some dip, and we don't want to talk command, let us know.
Jack, the last thing I will say, I am booked all day in a class on the 24th. However, I can always start the session and make you the host if you wanted to host the Take Command on the 24th instead of the 17th, because you're right. And thank you for catching that. The 17th is a holiday and we won't be doing Take Command on a KWRI holiday.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like we are having that party. So, okay. So everybody, we're going to get the potluck together. We're going to talk and take command there, and we're going to bring our favorite snack and just let our hair down and have a pretty good time. How about that? All right. So on January 24th, this will be the only exception, of course, because of the holiday, or if there's any time there's a holiday, we will do our best to still provide it for you on a different day. So the 24th instead of the 17th, we will be back here at the same time. Thank you, everyone, so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon or evening, depending on where you're joining us, and we shall talk soon.
Make it a great day.